So, Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yo, we're back.
So, we're back. That's the first thing we're going to start with. So, us being on here at the same time is a big thing. I will accept full responsibility for that, for you guys not hearing and seeing from us on the normal ones as usual. But what's up? My name is Christian Hayes, aka Yo Shifty, with my boy Steven on Twitter at Steven_Springs. We appreciate you all as always listening to us. Steven had a special guest the previous two sessions on the quick slants. It's something I got to listen to, so I do appreciate it. So make sure to go check out the quick slants because those were good episodes. I 2 weeks ago was talking to, or probably it was 2 weeks ago, yeah, because last week of Thanksgiving, 2 weeks ago, talking to Mason Young, the Vice President of Corporate Development for Capital One. So make sure to tune into those. All of them were good ones, and it gave us quality content throughout this time. But before we do anything else, I do got to say rest in peace and big shout out to Virgil Abloh for passing away. Me being in the sneaker game, Steven as well knows him too, but he was a big proponent in the off-whites. So that's a big thing. You guys saw him with his collabs. My brother is huge into art, so I got to know Virgil inside and out. So that was just a big thing there. Steven, before we go into the fast break, what's going to be upcoming and what you've been doing with the quick slants?
So for those of you who don't know, the Penn State football season or the regular season is over. We have the bowl game. Season didn't go the way we wanted to go. Started off 5-0 and we ended up 7-5. There's a lot of reasons to that. I'll get into that for the next episode of the quick slants. But goal for the off season is just to generate more content for everybody and maybe push the episodes from a half hour to 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Just I want to keep it. I've said before, I want to keep it all, we're like 90% Penn State football related. So going to try and do that, but generate some content. There's always recruiting, early signing periods in December, then signing day. You know how all that goes. So yeah, I mean, we'll have some special guests on. I had Jordan Hill on a couple weeks ago when the news broke about James Franklin's press conference. So I'll have him back on. I'll have some other people that I tailgate with, and just we'll keep it going, and before you know it, it's going to be April, and we'll have the spring game. And then before you know it again, it'll be fall camp in the summertime, and we'll be back in the spot next year. So lots to talk about. I'll do some top 10 stuff, games, players, teams, whatever, Penn State football related. We'll talk about the NFL and dive into all that stuff, but we're going to keep it Penn State football pretty tight on that. It is Penn State basketball season now. So shout out to the boys in blue. Yeah, it'll be good off season. Well, like I said, just try and generate more content and we'll keep the ball rolling. I know who my audience is. I say it every week. I know who I'm talking to. You know who I'm talking to. I talk to the same folks every single week. I love them to death. But I want to expand it to other people. I want to try and get other people involved. So yeah, it'll be good off season. It'll be, first time not talking about Penn State football, like game wise or practice or news and notes. So yeah, looking forward to it though.
Yeah.
But I will put out my season recap tomorrow. And then I'm gonna take a little break until the bowl game, which should be end of December-ish. So look out for that episode tomorrow night, usual same time, 8:00, 8:30-ish. And then I'll be back for the bowl game around Christmas time. But looking forward to the offseason.
Yeah, so that was a big thing I wanted to touch on with Steven. Another thing I wanted to end up letting everybody know is, so on Twitter, I probably haven't been as active. Finals and stuff started coming around, but I wanted to let everybody know in 2 weeks, I'll be able to full-time focus on our YouTube channel, our Twitter, and everything like that. So I'm going to be, after I graduate, I'm going to take a month off from work, just end up focusing on everything with the podcast and the Shift Movement business and everything itself. So you will start to see probably 3 to 4 videos, I would say, a week. So Steven will still have the quick slants coming out here and there. And then I will still have this episode, but then I'll start to focus a lot more on cryptocurrency things. And then I'll integrate a lot of the basketball stuff or other things. So we'll hopefully have more interviews and stuff throughout the week. And then I'll put out more threads. So we have started to notice a lot of people are talking to us about threads. I am going to be helping out another company when it comes to, they're doing a certain event throughout the week. So we're going to do giveaways with them. When all that information is confirmed, I'll make sure to let everybody know about that. There is an event in Europe that's happening this weekend called Blockchain. And so that's something that I will make sure to end up watching, and I'll give you guys my comments and stuff come next week. So without further ado, we'll go into one of my favorite parts of the time. So the fast break. So I don't know if Steven has seen it. I've gone back and forth between this one and the Terry Rozier. And I said, I'm gonna just end up going with this one. So we'll watch it, play it all the way through, and then we'll just end up doing it. So what happened with this one, and I'll show you guys the whole thing.
Bro, we all know what happened with that one. We all see what just happened with that one. Like, oh.
So how it happened, the background story to all of this is this. They were playing musical chairs, as everybody knows. And then that's what happened.
So she tried to celebrate.
She tried to celebrate.
She tried to celebrate her victory. And that shit went south quickly. Yo, I'm not okay. There's like there's so many things I want to say, but I don't want to comment on it and get myself in trouble. So I'm just gonna laugh. I'll tell you my thoughts off air. I'm not gonna comment on that. You're gonna put me in a bad spot with the wrong people. Not doing that.
So
not going
I'll
on
say
that
some things. When you're around certain people, like my brothers and sisters, they take games too far and they need to go that far. And then you didn't have to celebrate. Because I know I've played, I'll just slide in the chair. You celebrate after you win. So technically, I don't even know if you want to consider that a win because the chair broke.
Bro, those chairs are sturdy. Like those really chairs, like that, bro. That's metal. It's not plastic. That's metal. And she snapped that shit like a twig. I don't know. Like she didn't even look that big though.
No.
Like it's not like she was 400 pounds. It looked like.
Nope. But she tried to get some air underneath her, and I think that
she did.
So
she tried to get that bounce.
She did.
Oh man.
So I'll segue into the cryptocurrency stuff because there's a lot, and Steven and I will touch on the sports a lot too. So just going through everything. So probably since the last time we talked, Bitcoin has had a pullback. Bitcoin has come down to 57,000. It's something if you've been in the game for a while, you understand that this isn't that big of a deal. When you go up to $68,000, $69,000 and you pull back, the pullbacks aren't going to be as tough as they used to be. Reason being, we have a lot of institutional investors that are in the space and they're starting to still buy more. Michael Saylor, aka the big homie that's out there in the crypto space, he's continuing to buy more cryptocurrency. So that's one thing. I was going to talk about this when we got to the next segment, but it's probably better to end up talking about this now. So Steven, Michael Saylor, who's the CEO of MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is headquartered in McLean, Virginia. So I see it every single day. I go to work. Biggest part is he purchased $414 million worth of Bitcoin. And the company currently owns 121,044 Bitcoins, which equates out to $7 billion worth that his company owns. And now the wildest part about it, and just to give everyone some background context, he only owns 0.5% of the total circulating supply of Bitcoin. So it just shows you that he doesn't even own 1% of Bitcoin because they said 90% of the Bitcoin in circulation that's out there are owned by like less than 10% of the people that are in Bitcoin. And so it's a good thing and a bad thing. It shows that they are holding on long term, but it is a little tough because if they ever decide to sell, everyone will end up having to make sure to end up buy it up quickly or make sure that they sell off little by little. That's the big thing when they talk about the stock market too. When a couple of people own so much of it, they can like dilute the whole market by just selling off everything they have. So they try to encourage owners not to do that. So the price doesn't just drop because everybody will be affected. If they sold up every single Bitcoin that they had, they're not even going to gain a lot from it. So you just have to think about that in terms of that. Ethereum is something that has been increasing. It's sitting at $4,600. Binance Coin, which is one of the bigger exchanges, Binance is doing very well, sitting at $627. Another big thing about Binance, what they're doing is they're starting to think of something similar to Cash App. So they're making it easy for you to send money to somebody else from the Binance.com itself. So if you have the app or the website, so they're continuing to figure out different ways to integrate more and make it easier for people in cryptocurrency, but also everyday Americans and people around the globe. Tether it went up a penny, so that's a big thing. That shows that a lot of people are going into stable coins at times. If one is sitting at number 4, 2, it's at $1. So that means that a lot more demand is there, and the 1-to-1 ratio is a little bit off if it went up a penny. It doesn't seem like, well, it went right back down to $1, but it doesn't seem like much. But the big thing about that is if you own a lot of fiat and you try to end up trading it, you could do very well. If you only own like $2, you'll never understand what $1.01 is. Solana is in at number 5. They've been doing a lot. They also have their NFT marketplace that they are working on too. Cardano is always up there. I had like 3 people reach out to me during the week saying, what do I think about Cardano? Me personally, I'm not one that's going to invest in Cardano. Reason being, with Cardano, it has such a high market cap. It's sitting at $49 billion. So for it to end up
wait,
yes,
just so we all know, Christian is not a licensed financial advisor. Do not take his financial opinions literally. Yes, that's all they are, is recommendations, people. He's not a licensed financial planner. Don't take it seriously. It's only recommendations. We don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah, because we've had some people say I need to be in every single video. So that's our one little verse about this right now. Ripple is up there as well. XRP will continue to be up there, and USD coin. So that's another one that's up there. The stable coins will continue to be up there. You notice 2 are up there. Dogecoin is there. So something you will see, Polkadot and Dogecoin are there, but there was a battle at one point that Shiba Inu was going to overtake Dogecoin. Dogecoin is like the OG of all meme coins. So Shiba Inu was not going to end up moving above it for a long period of time. Shiba Inu did help other meme coins, and that's something I'll touch on in a little bit. But Dogecoin is sitting at number 10. Avalanche, I have loved a lot what Avalanche is doing. Also, the decentralized exchange that works off of Avalanche, Trader Joe, is another big one that has been very helpful. I've been using it because I invest in something. Well, I bought Cross Chain Capital, so ticker is CCC, and they did very well. They're working on multi-chain farming. So we'll talk about that in a second, but also Lunaterra is there. So that's the big things I wanted to end up bringing up, just the different cryptos. If I went too fast at that part, just play this back again, and you'll have to probably play it back a couple of times. But I'll leave this up here, and I just want to go over some of the news and notes. So 2 big things that happened. One happened a couple of days ago. The other one just happened today. Jack Dorsey did step down from Twitter. So that's something I have heard a lot of people bring up to me. Anyone that knows me knows that I've always been a huge fan of Jack Dorsey, Chamath Palihapitiya, and Elon Musk, as well as Caitlin Long. So those are the big ones that I am a big fan of. But something about Jack Dorsey, I've just loved how he was able to create 2 multi-billion-dollar companies. So him stepping down from Twitter, which wasn't necessarily gaining as much traction in terms of change as other sites like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and different things like that. The audience that's on Twitter knows who they are. So it's one of those things that the market cap, so what? They showed over time since basically the start, and then 5 years ago, and then till now, the stock price hasn't changed that much. And we started to see a lot of things that Jack Dorsey has been wanting to do in the metaverse and stuff. So it makes sense why Jack Dorsey's working on the exchange, and now Square, and that goes into the other news that I wanted to bring up. So the entity, a lot of people think that when Facebook changed its name to Meta, it affected you going on Facebook.com. That's not what it changed. Meta is the parent company. So under it, it has like WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. So the parent company is now called Meta. So same with this. So Square itself per se is not changed. The head parent is now going to be called Block. So it can be for a lot of different things. First, I was talking to one of my friends, and I'm like, that's the most simplistic, basic name to go into the cryptocurrency world, calling it Block. Because if you really think about what a square is, it's the same thing as a block. Like, it's all in the same sphere.
Good call, dude. Good call.
Yeah, I know.
that's what your master's is getting you. The ability to call a square a block. Good job, Christian. Good job.
The big thing about that is it just goes with blockchain. So a lot of people start to see like it's saying block, but that's neither here nor there. They're going to work more in the cryptocurrency space. Next thing I wanted to bring up is JP Morgan is holding a private crypto forum. The big thing about them holding a private crypto forum is they at the beginning were ones that did not want to end up talking about Bitcoin. Now they want to get a lot into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Going back just one thing, I said Caitlin Long is Kathy Wood, so I do apologize for messing that name up there, but she's in charge of ARK Invest. JP Morgan, pay attention to them and a lot of the other bankers that are out there. They want to end up telling you that they're not investing in cryptocurrency and they're not doing certain things when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but they're buying under the radar so that when they do end up talking about it and pricing it up, the price is going to go up and look what's going to happen to their bags. But also, if they were to talk about it now, the price is just going to shoot up off of them saying that. So if they're able to get in at these prices, it's not going to be that much of an impact. And then also they don't have to end up saying that they're just shooting the price up when they're doing it. Although we all know what they're doing. Another thing I want to say is the SEC has said that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is competition to the banks. So everyone out there that's been worried, like who's going to win the war, what's going to happen, the war has been won when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's now one of those things of accepting and getting people to understand and educate it. I like to equate Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to QR codes. So for the longest, people are like, what the hell are QR codes? Why the heck do we need a QR code? Everywhere you go now, I promise you're going to see a QR code. I go to restaurants, QR code. I do things for my job now. Oh, make sure you put a QR code on the survey that you're going to give out. QR codes are just a part of everything. Wherever you go in the crypto space, you can end up just using your phone, scan it, tap, QR code. So those are like various different things when it comes to that. Another thing I want to bring up, and I don't talk a lot about meme coins and stuff, but I will bring up Kiba Crew and Kiba Inu. So this is another one that's out there. So with them, they have a lot of partnerships. I was listening to their Twitter space that they had the other day. They have a partnership, a new one with Tory Lanez. And then they also have a partnership with Colin Sexton. They have a partnership with Ryan Garcia, who's an up and coming boxer. And they have the infamous, famous person himself, Mr. Designer, is another partnership that they do have with Kiba Crew and Kiba Inu. They are starting to get listed on a lot more exchanges. Currently, their market cap is sitting around $75 to $80 million as a market cap. At one point during the Twitter space, it did touch $95 million. And this is one that, not financial advice, but I can see hitting $1 billion market cap. It's something I've been in since I would say around $20 to $25 million. So nothing to pump my back, just letting everybody know where I get in on prices at so that you all can understand that I'm always going to be transparent in the market. Something else just to let everyone know, not just about cryptocurrency, but about finances and inflation numbers. So just let everyone know, because some people say that there's no such thing as inflation or inflation doesn't exist. Inflation does exist. So as of recent,
shit, even I know that.
I know, exactly. So here's two things I'll bring up. So when I'm doing this, inflation over the past year for the US has been 6.2%. Inflation in Venezuela is 1,500%. So their dollar, nothing exists. Like, it's not real money. Their currency is non-existent. So that's why nobody ever really uses the Venezuelan currency. I'm not going to end up telling you guys it because there's no need for you guys to ever know it. Sudan inflation is 366%. So that's just to give you guys contrast of when we are very much privileged and we have it good here in America because our inflation rate is not as high. Ones that are around the inflation rate of America is Brazil. They didn't have a high inflation rate. It was less than 10%. And Spain was another one that's up there. And it just shows you that their economies and the people that are in charge are much different. And they're able to do more for their country than other countries. And that's why, like Venezuela, Sudan, a lot of third world countries, they will be the main beneficiaries of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Reason being, it's a hedge against inflation and there's a fixed circulating supply, which are all good things. Instead of right now, what America's doing or other countries, they're just blowing money fast. And that's all you really can do to help sustain the economy that you have, you see the stock market just continuing to go up. So that's what I wanted to bring up over there. Two more things. Staking is something that I do in compound interest. So Unizen has something called DMAS. So it stands for dual multi-asset staking, whereas you can stake your Unizen tokens and then you can end up earning more. Let's say the Hustle is a cryptocurrency that's out there, and the Hustle has a partner with Busta Rhymes. So anyone out there that knows cryptocurrency or the rap game or the industry, or even just knows Busta Rhymes.
A weird combination.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, Busta Rhymes is a part of the Hustle, and they're an NFT. They're working to have NFTs and be in like the music industry in the metaverse. The metaverse is going to be a word I bring up a lot because the metaverse is something that is a part of the future. If you think I'm lying, look at what NVIDIA is doing, look at what Apple is doing, look at what Amazon is even doing. And then hell, start to pay attention to Microsoft and Facebook. All those companies are trying to focus on the metaverse. If you don't know what the metaverse is, look at Ready Player One. So I think I gave enough of a lecture about that. Another thing is Spartacus. So Spartacus, you'll realize with these different DeFi 3.0s and compound interest things, they have names that go back to like Greek times. So there's another one called Olympus. So you have Spartacus and Olympus, and a lot of it is about like debasing and compound interest. So for example, instead of like compound interest here, you'll get monthly compound interest. They will do daily compound interest. So it's really helpful if you have $1 and then it's, I don't know, 12% or whatever, you'll end up being able to make 12 cents in, let's say, 7 hours or so. So that's a short example about compound interest. If you need to look it up, just look up compound interest. It's very important to how everything in life works. So if you were to just end up getting interest once, you're not going to make that much, but compound interest is able to build on what you end up making the month before or the day before or however it might be. Finally, I want to talk about the picks that I have for December. After this, I'll end up posting it out there. So every single month, I do my cryptocurrency picks, just so you guys know the cryptocurrencies I'm focusing on. And for this month coming up for December, number one I have is Phantom. A big reason why I have Phantom, ticker symbol FTM, is because they have Spooky Swap. And with Spooky Swap, that's how I was able to get.
Half the time I think you're making shit up, dude. Like, I never believe you. I just don't. Like, Shiba Inu, come on. Like, I think you just make this shit up and you just write it down.
If you want Shiba Inu, you can almost get it on a lot of different centralized exchanges because a lot of people are starting to get into Shiba Inu. But Phantom, that's Spooky Swap is where I got Spartacus. So it's something I can continue to just make compound interest on. If you don't believe me, I was able to turn $500 into $1,000.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe anything you ever say. I think you're just making all this up. That's why we shouldn't even need to tell people to not take your advice. So you're just making shit up at this point. No, I'm kidding. Christian is a very credible source.
Yeah, because some people out there, I promise you, if you saw the DMs I get, they legit are like, so what do you think about this one? Where should I buy this at? Are you sure this is going to go up? So don't worry. A good amount of the things I say, you can end up believing. There are some things out there. I've done a lot of risky things where it's like, all right, I just had $1,000 go to zero. I can make it back because I know what to put the money in. But some people will be like, damn, you told me this. Like, why the hell did you do this? So two people I talk to a good amount on Twitter. One is called Scrooge. The other one is Wave Jumper. They, of course, they don't give their real names, but both of them, they have like a DM Chronicles where it's like, why did you end up lying to us about this cryptocurrency? When are you going to give us the next 100x cryptocurrency? First off, we can't just pull 100x cryptocurrency out of our ass. It takes time to research. It's not like, all right, you know what? The Warriors are going to go undefeated. No, like nobody knows it. We're just going off of research and our best guess. And hopefully everything in the world is perfect and maybe it goes that way. Number two is Ultra. So Ultra has a partnership with AMD. A lot of people do not know AMD is working with Ultra. So ticker is UOS. I do have some of our clients and Shift Movement invested in Ultra just for full transparency. Ultra is a part of the gaming industry, and gaming and esports and the metaverse is all going to be huge. I've seen a big increase in Ultra. Number three I have is New Cipher. So ticker is NU. Number four, I brought it up before, but I have Spartacus. So Spartacus is another one that's up there. Number five, Travel Finance. So Travel Finance is working on multiple layers of lending. And then they also are doing bonds too. So those are two big things. if you listen to anything I said today, look into Trava. I've been in Trava since it was less than a penny, and now it's in at 1.5 cents. At one point, it did go up to 3 to 4 cents. So those are the 5 right there. So we have Phantom, Ultra, New Cypher, Spartacus, and Trava. And for my 2 meme ones for everyone out there, I have Kiba Inu, and then I have Shed. So both of those, I know a good amount of the people behind the Shed team. So I would say you can trust them. What I like them for is they have a partnership with Moontography. Moontography is behind Floki. I can keep going on and on about the different connections that are out there. I won't bore you guys, but Shed, if you stake your Shed, you can end up earning either Glitch Protocol, OKLG, which is OK Let's Go, and Moontography are built by the same dev. And then you also have Kiba Inu you can end up earning from just staking your Shed, or you can stake Shed to earn more Shed. So those are just a couple out there that I wanted to end up bringing up. So for everyone out there that is interested in that, that's who you can end up checking out that. My good segue to bring us to the sports is, I gotta say, huge kudos to crypto.com for end up signing a huge deal with basically all the LA sports teams over there in that arena that you used to know as the Staples Center, which will now be called the crypto.com arena or center. It's something that Steve and I have talked about. I think sometimes you just go too far with names. I don't think you need to call it the crypto.com arena or crypto.com center. It could have just been something else, or you could have just dropped .com or do something. But that was an iconic arena that should have just been the Staples Center. I don't know what Staples did to not want to renew it, but that's what I'm kind of annoyed with.
Yeah, but they probably didn't want to pay that $700 million price tag, dude.
Dog, I know. When it gets, it's almost like an auction bidding war. Like, I'm out. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors did it. He has his own podcast, and he was talking about that too. Like, when you hear stories about Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers and all that kind of good stuff, and they played at the Staples Center. They didn't play at the crypto.com arena. And he went on and on about, like, when you're going, like, globally, the Staples Center is just like Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
It's the Mecca. It's the Mecca. Like, Madison Square Garden in New York City is the Mecca of basketball, college basketball, the NBA, New York. And anyone who knows the history of New York basketball, Madison Square Garden is the Mecca. So on the entertainment side of things, the Staples Center is the Mecca of the entertainment world. It's obviously in Hollywood, LA, stars, everywhere. All the award shows usually take place at the Staples Center. All the performances, the Lakers play there, the Clippers do play there, but no one cares. The Lakers, everyone, like, the Staples Center globally. If you're going, you don't have to say Staples Center. You just say, I'm going to Staples. Yeah. And it's not, people know you're not going to the store.
No,
people know you're going to the Staples Center to see entertainment, to see sports, or whatever the case may be. So, like, no one's gonna like I'm not gonna call it the crypto arena or crypto.com arena. Like, I'm gonna call it Staples Center just because I've been calling it that for forever. But Draymond Green, at the end of it, he's like, but you can't pass up on that $700 million though. So you can't. Like, you can't. If someone asked me to change my name to, like, Couch Potato for $700 million, I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, call me Couch Potato. I don't really care. I don't care.
I got that.
Whatever. Money. Yeah, that's fine with me. Couch Potato it is.
So, yeah, that was the big thing over there. Last thing, I got to always give a shout out to the Luxo community.
Shout out.
Yeah, I always appreciate talking to them. Going into sports, the first thing I end up doing is some quick hits. And the first one is Tiger Woods. So can you update everyone on what Tiger Woods did or did not say recently?
So Tiger Woods, for those who may not remember, was in a really bad car accident. I don't even know, like, that was probably less than a year ago. Like, or probably almost a year ago. Bad car accident, messed up a lot of his lower body, like a lot of surgeries. I don't think he almost lost anything, but like it was pretty significant. So there's a video of him about a week ago on the driving range hitting golf balls. He looked solid. I mean, it didn't, he was just taking some half swings, whatever, but it was still Tiger Woods on the driving range hitting a golf ball. Like, golf fans, sports fans love seeing that.
They like it, yeah.
Tiger's approaching 50, and he mentioned that he's not going to be playing a full-time schedule for the PGA Tour. He's going to participate in some events whenever he feels like it. Tigers are in the right to do so. I know he's had all the off the field drama and whatnot, but off the course drama. But when it pertains to like what he can do within the sport, for what he's done for the sport and all he's accomplished, winning wise, yeah, Tiger Woods can do whatever the hell he wants. I don't know if he'll play in majors. I know he'll play in some tournaments, make appearances, do all that kind of good stuff. He'll I don't know what like percentage of the events he'll play in, but as long as Tiger plays, like that's all people care about. Like that's what. Now we're at the point though where, and it unfortunately it almost seems like we're heading this way with LeBron, where like we got to face reality that these guys are like done or almost done.
Yeah,
like Tiger's not going to be playing every tournament. He's not going to be Tiger that we saw like 5-10 years ago, like let alone like 20 years ago. And then LeBron's the same way. I know LeBron's got injuries happen in sports and everything. And LeBron's injuries in LA have seemed to be pretty random. I saw a stat that up until he went to LA, this is a random stat. Up until he went to LA, he had missed 71 games in his career. Like that's Cleveland, Miami, back to Cleveland. But since he's been in LA, he's missed 71 games and counting. Now he's got tested positive for COVID. For those of you who don't know, LeBron's back in LA. He's out for at least 10 days or 2 negative PCR tests return within 24 hours. So that's that. But nonetheless, back to what I was saying. We're at the point now where like we've seen athletes' careers come and now they're going. So it's very unfortunate, but Tiger is in that phase now where his like prime is well behind him. But again, he drives the needle. So when even if he's like projected to not make the cut or whatever, it's still Tiger Woods. And it's like I said a couple, it feels like a long time ago, but when Adrian Peterson signed with the Titans, I was hoping for stop. Don't go there. Do not go there with me. I was hoping for like that one moment, right? Like we're all hoping like Tiger Woods. Would I love to see him win again? Yeah, absolutely. Like I just want to see him bombing off the tee and like hold it from 100 yards away or whatever the case may be. I just want to see him have that one moment before he really calls it quits. Same with Adrian Peterson. I'm hoping LeBron has a couple more seasons left, so we don't have to worry about getting to that point with him. But this sort of thing that Tiger's talking about, it's kind of putting things back into reality. Like, okay, he's finishing up now. So it sucks, but I mean, he's been doing it for basically.
So the other thing outside of Tiger Woods was definitely when you bring up Tiger Woods, you got to bring up Lee Elders. And Lee Elders passed away at 87. He was the one that came before Tiger Woods, and he broke the color barrier. So something that I was talking to my mom about this over the weekend. She was like, yeah, he even had to have security guards. Like he had to have security when he went to these various different events. So just wanted to end up acknowledging Lee Elders passing away and going into someone else that is on the point of passing away in their NBA career, Michael Porter Jr. So this is something that a lot of people probably knew. If you knew anything about, and not hate, it's just certain players that I talked.
You called it though. You called it though. You called it. You called it not even like recently, but like a couple years ago. You called it.
Yeah. So that's the big thing with Michael Porter Jr. I have followed Michael Porter since he was at Missouri. Same thing I talk about Chris Carson's. No hate towards him. You just start to see certain players, they just are going to have certain injuries. Chris Carson has those neck injuries because he just runs too damn hard all the time. And so the thing with Michael Porter Jr. is he had these injuries when he was in college. It dates back some to high schoolish too, but I won't go that far back. But in college, he didn't even play that much. Look up how many games he did play, and just going into the NBA. And I was talking to Steven about this. When they signed that contract, I'm just like, damn, that's a lot of money you end up giving this player.
Yeah,
Like
you got
a
it.
lot of
Doesn't it? But it doesn't kick in. I saw until next
till
year.
next year. Yeah.
So, I mean, they could. I'm
I
assuming
don't know
that they're
how
gonna.
that goes.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna try and find a way to get out of that because
They need,
it,
yeah.
it's not even just sports, but when you have back surgery, like you're basically done.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad is over 50 and he's had I think 6 back surgeries and like a couple of neck surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
Just yeah, he's just been out of the game for a long time. My buddy had back surgery when he was in high school, and he went from being one of the top tennis players in the state in high school to like, is he gonna play tennis again?
Mm-hmm.
And like Michael Porter Jr., like he's having lumbar spinal surgery. I've never heard of that. Like when you hear a new injury or when you hear like a new surgery that
Hearing
someone's having,
names.
like you know that it's bad.
Yeah.
Like you know that it's bad. Like, we all know the ACLs. We all know, we've heard of back surgeries and everything else, separated shoulders, whatnot. But like lumbar spinal surgery,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that is. Where you'd even like where in your back that even goes, or like how long that recovery is going to be. They say he's out indefinitely. Like yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They
My
don't
guess
know
is
a timetable.
yeah, like my guess is not playing this season, and who knows if he'll play next season, or who
Mm-hmm.
knows if he'll play ever again. Which sucks
Yeah.
because like he was starting to come into his own. He was starting to play really well, and he was going to be a big piece of their team going forward. But like I said, when your back goes, like everything else is
Yeah.
going to go.
The big thing about that is, and Steve and I have mentioned this before, so they were going to pay him he was getting paid the max, and then Jokic was getting paid a max, and then Jamal Murray was getting paid a max. So what you gonna do? Like numbers start to not add up. All these players gonna just get maxes. Someone got to end up going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that you end up having to figure out. Just like here's another thing: if you pay attention to the whole LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook situation, numbers have to add up some way. So someone isn't always going to sign those max contracts because it doesn't add up. And you can keep deferring money down the line, but when you defer money, it's going to catch up to you. So that's the whole thing with them. But somebody who it's never going to catch up to because in baseball, they just don't care about caps, Max Scherzer. So I can tell everybody this now because one, I won't be at my job anymore, but also Max Scherzer isn't around here. So I used to see Max Scherzer's family a good amount of the time, every single day at my job. So like I saw when his kids, not saying any names or anything like that, but I would see when his kids like would come in and stuff like that. And then when he ended up getting traded and going out west, it was like, damn, like they all left. Like they just stopped coming here and then they were out west. And when money talks, you do anything for money. Like just Steven brought up the example of call me a couch potato for 700 million. I'll do it. Well, Max Scherzer said, I'm going to go to New York and get a 3-year, $130 million contract to be there. The only two things you're doing is competing with pitching with DeGrom, and you're going to be chilling and talking to Steve Cohen about doing business deals because they're not going to be winning this year. I could be wrong, but I personally, just looking at MLB and how things are, I don't think they're going to win next year. And he got a dumb contract. He already has a ring. So the rings aren't what he's competing for at this point. You're getting that money and you're setting your kids up for life. That's kind of what they're doing with that. So those are the notes I wanted to end up bringing that. We'll touch on college basketball quickly. This is something I haven't been paying attention to as much. I've been watching games here and there, but like in December, I'll start to pay attention to them more. So number one was Duke, because I'm pretty sure I heard about a loss happening. And then
they lost last night to the Ohio State University.
Yep. Number 2, I think is Purdue.
Yep.
Number 3, we have the Zags. Number 4, Baylor. Number 5, we have UCLA. And then it keeps going. Like your Kentucky and Kansas are in like the top 10 and stuff, but it's early. A lot of the interconference games have not started. You're just playing in these tournaments and invitationals. So that's when you start to get a real feel for how good the teams are doing. And then you have like the conference battles. Those are when you get to really see and understand who's going to stand out. And the tough part about going forward with college basketball, and Steven will speak to this too, is it's tougher now to see who the best players are and the best teams, because a lot of the good players are either going to the G League, going to play in overtime, or they're going to go end up playing overseas. and you don't really get a feel for who really is the star player, because are they playing against all the top competition still? So, but what are your thoughts?
Much like the NBA, I don't put much stock into college basketball early season losses or like wins until like mid-conference play, until you see a team, they're 18-6 or like they're 11-11 or whatever. Like, okay, now you see what this team is. Like, you had your early season win against a top 10 team or whatever, but then you plateaued and that was it. It's usually around the time like end of February into March, like mid-February and then into March, like obviously as like the conference tournaments start to play, that's when you start to see like the top 5 or 6 teams who's going to be like the 1 seeds, the 2 seeds. Those are usually the teams that like have been there all season, much like the NBA. But I mean, Penn State basketball is playing tonight. Shout out to the boys playing Miami in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. But like if Penn State beats Miami tonight, like what does that mean? I don't know. Like he'd be like, yeah. Then you'll see like Penn State, for example, Penn State football beat Auburn in like the 3rd game of the season. Huge win at the beginning of the season, massive win. Big Ten versus SEC. Big Ten does not do very well against SEC. So massive win for Penn State. Auburn finished 6-6. Like, so going like looking back, like what does that win mean? Sure, like it does mean a lot because it's a win, and it's a home win against a out of conference opponent, usually a good opponent from the best conference in the country. So like that's still like a really good win. But it's like at the end of like they competed with Alabama, Auburn did, and they almost beat them. Win a couple, I think 3 overtimes with them. Like that win doesn't look as good because especially since Penn State finished 7-5, Auburn finished 6-6. So early season wins. It is what it is. Like Oregon beat Ohio State second or third game of the season, and both teams kind of finished the season strong. So that was a big win for Auburn because Ohio State is right now like one of the better teams in the country. I know they've lost to Michigan, but first of all, shout out to Michigan. Okay,
hey, shout out. They've done good.
Like I don't like Ohio State whatsoever. I hate them. I don't like Ohio State. I mean Michigan at all. Hate them. But I hate Ohio State 1,000 times more than I hate Michigan. So I was definitely rooting for Michigan on Saturday. So shout out to them for finally beating Ohio State. First time in like a bunch of years. First time Harbaugh's beating Ohio State in his time in Ann Arbor. But like early season wins, back to your question. Like the Kings almost beat the Lakers last night, but they came back. But it's like Lakers are 46 run. That's nuts. But like the Suns beat the Warriors last night. Like, and they've won 17 straight. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean at the end of the season? Like the Suns are probably going to be one of those teams that are going to be in the conference finals or be in the conversation. But like, what does this mean right now? Like nothing. They can easily start losing, 3 out of 4 or like 4 out of 5, and like they're not like. Are they going to go on a run like the Warriors did when they went 73-9? Maybe, but like chances are not likely. So early season games, the only thing I put much stock into really is the NFL, because I think who the teams are that are really going to be there. There's maybe 1 or 2 surprise teams, but like not usually. But that's really the only team. Baseball, whatever. Like those are the NFL is the only thing I really put much stock into. In terms of like early season games, wins or whatever. So college basketball, I'll watch it, but like I don't really pay too much attention to like who's winning and who's losing until February hits.
Yeah. So touching on it before we segue over into college football, I just want to bring up the love and passion that the Michigan coaches have. I don't know if anyone saw it, but Juwan Howard was on the field with Harbaugh, and it's just a good thing because they both know how much it means. Another thing is both of the brothers are just doing good. If you look at them both in the respective sports, and then they're both at the top. Lamar Jackson and them are chilling over there in Baltimore. And these organizations believed in the brothers. So what the one is doing in Baltimore, what the other is doing in Michigan, they've been there a long time. The only place he's gone since the 49ers is to Michigan. and he's been there a while. He was a laughingstock and a joke for a minute, just about how he recruited and like their losses. But they didn't give up on him. They kept him there. Same thing with Baltimore. I think Baltimore's a different breed, though, and we'll talk about that later. But just what they're doing in Baltimore, not just for the team, but for like the surrounding area, is just huge. The more they win, but what Michigan's doing, them being in the top 4, I haven't seen Michigan's name in the top 4 in college football in a minute, and I don't watch college football every single week and every single year. So
they get there. They get there, but like the 9th or 10th game of the season, they usually fall apart. Yeah. So when they get to the Ohio State game and they fall apart. So it's a big season. It goes back to like also, I mentioned when we started this about the quick slants, like Penn State gave James Franklin a 10-year extension. 10 years doesn't really mean 10 years, but like they believe that James Franklin will get Penn State over the hump. And the hump is usually Ohio State and it's Michigan, and it's like consistently beating them. And, Ohio State is the top dog in the Big Ten. I know Michigan just beat them and they'll play for the Big Ten title, but like Ohio State is still the top dog in the Big Ten. Now Michigan might be climbing up there, but we see what these teams are doing in college football, and we'll transition to that. These teams are like recycling coaches every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And Penn State fans are like, get James Franklin out of town. Like, we don't need him anymore. It's like, no, like you might not like the results that we've gotten so far, but like they were gonna have to pay somebody. Like, and they're not gonna, if they did let James Franklin walk, they weren't gonna, like, the next guy that comes in, it wasn't going to be a backward step in terms of like the resume that this coach is bringing in. It was going to be a lateral move or a better move.
Yeah,
and they're going to pay somebody anyways. So why not pay the guy who's won a Big Ten title, who has multiple 10-win, double-digit win seasons? Why not give him the money and bring in we have a top 5 recruiting class coming in, and I'll talk about all this on the Quick Slants tomorrow night, 8:00. So we have like all these big time guys coming in, all these top recruits, and if you let someone go like a lot of these other teams did, like Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley went off to USC. They had three players decommit. One of them already committed to USC. So It's just like, it's a snowball effect. And then you're starting over. In 2018, Penn State had Justin Fields committed to Penn State, right? He decommitted. That's like, college football fans know, and this, like recruiting cycles, it goes in cycles. It's like every 3-4 years, you kind of like aim for like that next big class. 2018 was supposed to be that class for Penn State. So when you got to like reset and recalibrate and bring in like maybe guys that you didn't want, but you see these schools investing in their coaches to like keep things in like on a straight path, and teams are gonna get there. Michigan fans have been saying this for a long time. Like, we'll get there. Like, it's gonna be Harbaugh, and Harbaugh's a Michigan guy. He went to Michigan and played quarterback there, so he's got a lifetime contract. And this win over Ohio State, it gave him even more of a lifetime contract. Gave him a next lifetime contract. So you gotta pay somebody. So why not pay the guys that have gotten you this far? I know, especially like John Harbaugh at Baltimore. They don't win the Super Bowl every year. They don't win the AFC North every year. They don't make the playoffs. I mean, I think they missed the playoff once in his time there. And Baltimore fans are like, we want more. It's like he's the one who's gonna get you there.
Exactly.
He's won you a Super Bowl. Like he's gotten you to that point. So it's just I've gotten to the point in life now with like rooting for teams that it's like it's such a do that. Like it's such a pain in the ass, but it's like I don't expect Penn State to win a national title every year. But it's like fans, like some fans just like fall off the wagon, like just they don't believe in the coaches anymore or whatever. You gotta say true, Yeah. Like you gotta stick with it and pay the man. Like I'll pay him. I don't really care. Couch potato over here. I'll pay him. Get that bread. I'll pay him. But there's just it's just no loyalty, and like people get all upset about it. But I mean, that's just kind of how it is these days.
So running through some of the other contracts, Mel Tucker got his money too, $95 million, 10 years, just like Steven was saying. James Franklin got his. Before we talk about the two I want to talk about, what happened to Virginia Tech?
Yo, shout out to the Hokies. They got Penn State's old defensive coordinator, Brent Pry. Pry's been, I'll talk about this also in the Quick Slants tomorrow, 8:00. He's been with James Franklin for a long time. He was on Virginia Tech staff as a grad assistant in the early 90s, I think for 3 or 4 years. It's one of those things where his name pops up quietly every offseason for head coaching gigs, and it's primarily head coaching gigs because he's been a defensive coordinator with Penn State for the last 8 seasons, was at Vanderbilt previously before that. So he's been waiting for a head coaching gig, and it's kind of like he's been waiting for the right opportunity. And it seems like this was the right time. Like, you'll find nothing negative that people. There are definitely Penn State fans who are going to say negative things about him because of like missed tackles or like dropped interceptions that the players had, but they put that on the coaches all the time. Yeah. But I've met him a couple of times in passing. Great dude, nice guy, hell of a coach. Like, you're usually bummed about coaches like that leaving because our Penn State's defenses have been so good under him. But shout out to Brent Pry. I wish him well at Virginia Tech. They play ODU to start the season next year.
That's a cool one. I know.
ODU has
have that agreement.
ODU still has Penn State's old offensive coordinator Ricky Ronnie as their head coach.
He's gonna be there for a minute. I can promise you that.
But shout out to James Franklin though. His coaching tree.
It's the tree.
He has Ricky Ronnie is the head coach at ODU. Now Brent Pry is the head coach at Virginia Tech. He's got a bunch of former assistants that are doing big things. His former defensive line coach is the defensive line coach for the Giants. Joe Moorhead, who's the offensive coordinator at Oregon, is likely going to become the next head coach at Akron. So, I'd be bummed if one of those schools won a national title before Penn State does. I'd be really pissed off about that. But it's just like James Franklin knows how to pick them, and people can rat on him for a lot of things, but he always he always has like good replacements that are either a lateral move that are as good or if not better than the previous guy. So yeah, shout out to Brent Pry, shout out to the Hokies. Maybe we should take a trip down to ODU next year for that game.
I would do something like that.
We'll do a live show.
We would absolutely do something like that.
100%. Maybe we'll talk to the ODU athletic department and see what we can come up with.
Trust me.
Shout out.
I know. Shout out. So going into, because we will bring this back up. Don't forget, guys. Mr. Kelly got his money in LSU. So that's a big one as well. I don't know, just you don't even have to be a fan, but when you see a good coach going to LSU or Bama or those places, you just get hyped and excited to see it. And that's good for LSU to end up having. Some of their big-time people aren't going to be there under him because, like, Stingley, he gone. And so we'll end up seeing what they end up doing. But the big one that I wanted to talk about, and when I just saw this information, so shout out to Kenny, Stephen knows Kenny from Sports International. So Kenny just dropping like random information online, and I'll end up getting it from him. But Lincoln Riley is going to USC, and the contract itself is cool and all, but when you start to understand how college football contracts are, it's not just the contract signed on the dotted line, the money. So his contract is $110 million, but they're not going to pay every single dollar in straight like money. It'll be other things. So 2 other things, USC is buying both of his homes that he has in Norman, and they're doing it for $500,000 over the asking price. So that's $1 million bonus he's going to get because they're buying his houses. Another thing is they're buying him a $6 million home in LA. So again, this is included with the money. And then another thing is his family has unlimited use of the private jet 24/7. And I'm not saying no to that. You're going to pay me. You're going to buy my houses off of me. Cool. Then you're going to give me a house there. Okay. And then I get the private jet.
Yeah.
Fine.
I mean,
you're not saying no to these deals.
No, that was a, so I follow a lot of people on Twitter that are sources, that like when I see them report something about college football coaches or, whatever, I usually believe them. And when I first saw the Lincoln Riley news, I did not believe that.
I didn't.
Because I don't know why. Like I probably should have, because he's a name that pops up every year for head coaching jobs. But he's one of those guys, much like Brian Kelly, is like they're not going to go from like Oklahoma to Rice. They're not going to go to they're not going to take a step back. It's going
No
to be a
shade,
lateral.
Bryce.
Yeah, it's no shade. It's going to be a lateral move or a better move.
Mhm.
And USC's been down, but you bring in a name like Lincoln Riley with
Oh,
the
that does
offense
suck.
with the offenses that he's put together at Oklahoma and the players that he's going to start getting from California, and we know how much talent is there.
Yes.
I'm guessing there's going to be a few more guys that are either committed to Oklahoma or he had recruiting to Oklahoma that will probably go to USC now because of the offenses he put together. So, I mean, Brian, like I'll talk more about the Brian Kelly news tomorrow on the Quick Slants, 8:00. But I want to be careful, like what I say. I don't like hate that he did it. It's just the way that he did it.
Mhm.
The slimy way that he like just kind of like dipped out of Notre Dame to go there.
And they were doing
like
good.
yeah, and you know how he texted the players, like all the players found out through social media, which like you can't stop that train. But they all found out through social media, and then they had a meeting the next morning, like 7 a.m. Like you're not gonna let your players sleep in when they don't have to be there. And the meeting was less than 10 minutes long, I think. Like his, I saw the video on Twitter of him giving the speech. I don't know what he said. It was like, I left because of this. I love you guys, blah, blah, blah. All lies. Like, I'm sure he still, cares about the players, but like, does he really? Like, come on.
You're leaving like that.
He's also making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
It's because everyone down the South has an insane amount of money. And like those code, he's going to be making $10+ million a year, which will make him the highest paid coach in the country, which tells me one thing. Nick Saban is vastly underpaid.
1000%.
I don't care. Like he needs to be making all the money. He needs to be making $20 million a year for what he's done and for how good of a coach he is.
So Steven brought it up that with Penn State, they're not expecting every single year to win. There is one organization in the entire country where every year it is championship or the world's going to end. It's Alabama.
Yep.
Like Kansas City, they know sometimes they're not going to win. Talking about the Chiefs, the Lakers, they understand some years they're not going to win, although they would want to. Alabama, you're going there because you think you're going to win a national championship every year,
bro. Every year.
The people that are going now to USC, one of them are thinking we're going to be the Heisman because we have Lincoln Riley. Same with Kentucky. Well, yeah, with Kentucky with Coach Cal. You think you're going to be a number one or a first round draft pick. There's certain places you go because you think that's how I'm going to get there. Going to Bama, you think you're going to win every single year. So that money, he's absolutely underpaid in terms of contract. But in terms of houses and them cars and what he gets around the world, he's probably at his good value.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's good.
That's what we wanted to end up touching there. NBA, we'll just go real quickly. So what you got for us?
All right. So finally, after this, so if you guys remember, me and Christian did this random ass fantasy thing that means nothing.
It's better than fantasy drafts, I promise you.
We'll figure out a prize for the winner and everything and whatnot. So we picked a starting five of like a mix of players, 2 bench guys, and 2 teams from each conference. A team that made the playoffs last year and a team that did not make the playoffs last year. So how we're gonna determine the winner is going to be, I think we decided on points by the starters and the bench.
Yeah.
Or tiebreaker. If somehow we tie point wise, which we're not going to at this point, we'll go with tiebreaker on the bench. So I tallied up everything. My team was Luka, Jason Tatum, LeBron, Julius Randle, and Kristaps Porzingis. Okay. My team racked up so far 1,885 points. Dope, right? I'll take it.
That sounds like injuries.
Yeah, that sounds like, yeah, right? Yeah. When I first saw that, when I did my team first, obviously. When I tallied it up, I was like, okay, like, I know your team is beating me, but like 1885, like, I can live with that for now. I can live with that. I need LeBron to not have COVID anymore and to ball out the rest of the season. I need Porzingis to pick up the slack. So just shout out to those guys real quick. Your team: Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid.
Remember, guys, I had to change because I was not following the rules. So I switched to Jimmy.
Yeah, could you cheat it? Yeah, if I didn't make you cheat, I don't know who you picked beforehand, but if I didn't make you change because you cheated, you still would have kicked my ass. So remember, my team has 1,885 points total. My bench, my starters. Christian's team has 2,146 points. So I'm losing by 260.
That's not that far apart.
I'm losing by 261 points. But like you have Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and Devin Booker. Like KD's leading the league in scoring right now. Mm-hmm. The Joel Embiid's been out. So like that's been saving me. If he was having a normal season, I'd be down by 500 plus points probably. But all I need is LeBron to get healthy and to start rolling, and like maybe a couple of your guys miss a couple games here and there. I'm back in the game. But your the bench production, we have one of the same guys on the bench, Jordan Clarkson.
That cancels.
Yeah, and I have Andre Drummond, and you have Tim Hardaway Jr. My total is 456 on the bench, and yours is 588. So a difference of 132. So
damn, Tim Hardaway's doing that.
But what's been helping me and hurting you is that Joel Embiid has been hurt and Andre Drummond has been playing.
God dang it, that's right. Yeah.
So my guy Drummond, who like if Embiid was playing, I'd have be hurt. Yeah, he'd have like 10 points. But Embiid's not been playing, and Drummond's been having some 20-point games every now and then.
Yeah.
So now if I went with his rebound totals, I'd be kicking your ass right now. But
absolutely.
That's been helping me and hurting you is that Drummond is playing and Joel Embiid's not playing. So there's that. Also, what's hurting you is Damian Lillard's not having the type of season that he usually has.
No.
And Jason Tatum's been doing well too. So it's like it's there's a mix of good and bad. And what's obviously hurting me the most is LeBron's been out for I think almost 10 games now. Who knows how many games he'll miss now. But so it's close. Now what's not close are the teams. What's not close are the teams. So my teams in the East are, what? Actually, I'll do yours too. I'll do yours first, just to put that out there. So Christian picked the Bulls, who did not make the playoffs last year, and the Nets. His Eastern Conference teams are 29 and 14. My Eastern Conference teams, I picked the Heat, doing well this year. Yeah. I picked the Pistons. They're not doing well this year. My Eastern Conference teams are 17 and 25. So not like awful, but like the Pistons just can't win a game. They have 4 wins on the season. They're 4 and 17. Like, I mean, that speaks for itself. I'm fucking down with them.
Isaiah Stewart charged LeBron more times than they've won.
Yes, he did. We can talk about that for a long time. Your Western Conference teams, the Kings and the Jazz. Mm-hmm. The Jazz are 14 and 7, not bad. Yeah. Kings are 8 and 14, expected, 22 and 21 for total.
Damn, they have the exact opposite records.
Yeah. So my Western teams are the Mavs and the T-Wolves. So my teams are 21 and 19. So our Western Conference teams are way closer than Eastern Conference teams.
Yes, yeah.
If the Pistons don't do well, I'm just gonna go with the Heat, and hopefully they finish the season really, really well, because I'm just gonna drop the Pistons. I'm gonna put them on the waiver wires. Yeah. So to recap, your team is up by 261 points. Your starters, your bench is up by 132 points, and your teams are. I'm not gonna go. Whatever. It's fine.
No.
We'll come back.
What's so crazy?
Remember early season stuff, dude. Yeah. I don't care. It's all about how you finish.
Crazy part is, and I don't know why I did this. So our bench players, I'm pretty sure you had for your 6th man of the year, Jordan Clarkson.
I did.
My dumbass said, "Oh, I'm gonna go with the Heat as one of the good teams." I don't think I chose him there, but I chose Jimmy Butler, and then for my bench, I chose Tim Hardaway Jr. But my 6th man, I said Tyler Hero, but yet I don't put him. So I was like, all right, I don't know what I was thinking when I did all this, but we'll just go with it.
No, you're thinking about cheating, and you did. So I had to call your ass out. So, okay.
But so that's what that. Going into some of the reason why I probably have points too. The Suns are on a hot streak. So with them winning 16, 17 games in a row, the two beneficiaries, Chris Paul, and then also Devin Booker. But it's not just them, because their bench has been doing pretty solid and they've been getting points. Shout out to JaVale McGee's out there chilling. When you go to these places that doesn't have as much hype, you forget who's out there. JaVale McGee, you guys remembered him when he was on these other teams. But that's neither here nor there. Warriors lost, so that was something else. Something I wanted to bring up before we go into the NFL. They're shooting so much, and Steven probably will agree with this, but they're shooting so much more nowadays, and they're missing so much that Rudy Gobert is averaging 14 rebounds a game, and Jokic is averaging 13.7 rebounds a game. If you're averaging that many rebounds, that means that many shots are being missed. It's simple math if you guys can't do it, but normally it's around like the 10 point. It's early. Yes, I know it's early, but you're averaging around 9 to 10 rebounds. The blocks are up there too, like over 2.5 blocks for three or four players.
You look at Anthony Davis as having a pretty average season, 23 and 10, which is like, that's still really good.
Yes.
And then you got Gobert, who's averaging, I don't know what points wise he's averaging, but 14 rebounds is insane.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of those are offensive rebounds too.
Exactly.
You got Donovan Mitchell chucking up a lot of shots, and yeah.
That's really how it is. So that's what I wanted to bring up, because you'll notice that the Caruso is leading in steals. So that was something else. Yep, he putting up. But that's just, before I move over, I do have to give a lot of credit, because a lot of people shitted on him, hated on him. LeVar Ball is just a genius when it comes to it. In terms of saying that some of his sons are going to be good, I'd feel real bad if I was the Ball brother, Jello, that was not getting any of this hype, but your other two are doing well. But it's also an offensive game. That's really all it is. If we're talking about all around, you can argue if they're very good, but in terms of offense and in terms of like height and in terms of what the culture wants to see, LaMelo's it. He's in a perfect area for him. Then Lonzo is in the absolute best spot possible. He doesn't want all the shine. That's LaMelo. But they tried to force it on Lonzo. That wasn't Lonzo. So now just having him there, you give it to DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine loves it. That's someone I've talked about since UCLA. They love that. Let Lonzo do what he needs to do.
Yep.
So going into the real stuff we want to talk about, because sometimes you do know the teams, sometimes you don't know the teams, but the NFL. And before I say anything else, the Eagles are some shit. I don't care what anybody says. Jalen Hurts has a hell of a lot of interceptions, and Jalen Reagor is
he's duty. He's duty, bro. He's duty, bro. He's duty.
Twice. And the worst part is, I'm just going to let you guys know this, because a lot of people probably don't understand this. This past year, we chose Devontae Smith when we could have had Jamar Chase. We chose Jalen Reagor when we could have had Justin Jefferson. First off, 2 LSU receivers. There is no, but the cards could have fell a different way. No, absolutely not. We were in the position to get them. We did not choose Justin Jefferson. You don't even have to look at their numbers. You can just hear whose name is talked about more. And I was talking with some people I work with. The reason why we went with Jalen Reagor, speed, forget hands, speed. Speed is going to kill. Well, your speed's in Las Vegas, still killing it. Deshaun Jackson, y'all didn't want to keep him again. You had 2 chances with him. Don't let people forget that. And then you guys chose, and I'll get this name correct, JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Chose him over DK Metcalf. I don't know. Just imagine the receivers that could have been there. And I know you guys are going to do some stupid ass shit this year. You guys have 3 first-round picks at the rate Carson Wentz is playing. And you know something is going to go wrong with them. It's not going to go correct.
Nope.
It's not. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Second thing is the true definition of trust. Everybody has their different definitions of trust in life. The true definition is what the Ravens whole coaching staff has for Lamar Jackson. This man threw 4 interceptions. They said, nope, keep him out there. It'll be fine. Also, the Browns suck. If you guys caught 4 interceptions and you guys still couldn't win, 4 interceptions. If you guys just kick field goals every single time, you would have missed straight.
Mm-hmm.
4 interceptions. And the
Mhm.
only person running the ball is Lamar Jackson.
Mhm.
I had Lamar Jackson on a team, should have beat them. I was playing Tiana in one of the leagues, and I was like, oh, clutch. Like, you can't lose. You have Lamar Jackson. Interception. Oh, every time you chuck it up, interception. He did throw it to Mark Andrews one time, and I don't fault Lamar fully because Mark Andrews kind of pushed it onto the defender. I was like, shit, there goes the interception too. But Lamar Jackson does not see the field perfect. He takes a hell of a lot of risks. So he's becoming a better thrower.
Mhm.
He ain't there yet. So, but he's good for the culture. Last thing before we go into the picks, I'm never choosing Christian McCaffrey ever again in anything. Holy. This man got injured, came back.
Got injured again.
Got injured again. Not just injured, IR. Like they just said, yep, shut him down again. And this is what they've always said. When you give these running backs that second contract, it doesn't go well. Like it really doesn't a lot of the time.
Yep.
Todd Gurley with the money.
That's
nobody
why
hears about him.
That's why the Giants haven't given Saquon Barkley anything, and they're probably not going to.
Yeah,
well,
at the rate.
That's different though, because his injuries haven't been like they've just been kind of random, but like they haven't helped him.
Yeah,
they haven't given him an offensive line. I swear to God, dude, when I watched the Giants play, and I watched them on Saturday.
Watch Steven. He seems very mad at this.
Yo, I swear to fucking God. It seems like the Giants offensive line like only wants to stop blocking when Saquon runs the ball. Mm-hmm. Like they'll block for Daniel Jones.
Doing good.
They'll block for Booker. But like when Saquon Barkley gets the ball, they're like, oh, we got yeah, cool. We'll let this guy get through. Or like I don't get it. Like it sucks. Yeah. Like, and every time the Giants play, every time Saquon touches the ball, I tweet out hashtag free Saquon. Mm-hmm. I want him to get out of there. Dude, he's like 23, 24. Like he has
wasting his years.
Hopefully he has another like 10 years left if he can stay healthy, but he needs to get out of New York. He needs to go to a team that has an offensive line. Bro, he needs to go to a team that has like an average offensive line. Not even like the best offensive line in football. Totally. Dude, I don't care anywhere but the Giants. I don't care if he goes to the fucking Jags.
I know.
Anywhere but the Giants, bro. I'm like, it's so painful to watch because it was the same shit in college. Like he did way better in college. Obviously, they did in the pros, but like Penn State didn't have a good offensive line in college, and like they just like our teams could have been so much better, and he could have been so much better, and he would have gotten maybe would have won the Heisman, or that's going down a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. But like, man, I feel so bad for the guy.
So before we get into the picks, the last thing I want to bring up is I'm not on paper changing my rookie of the year on offense, but verbally right now I'm changing my offensive rookie of the year. And at the rate that they're winning games and how he's starting to understand that offense, it's not Jamar Chase. I can promise you, because Mac Jones has been doing so much for that team. And I know Bill Belichick, he's not one that's going to smile and do things, but inside he's like,
he knows.
I still think Tom Brady is the one. And this shows it. Like they chose Mac Jones. And this goes back to all the other things we talk about with quarterbacks, wide receivers. The 49ers could have had Mac Jones. All them other teams before him, the Bears could have had Mac Jones. They could have had him. They chose all these other quarterbacks. The only one I do think about is, would Trevor Lawrence be this good if he had Bill Belichick? But they're two different types of quarterbacks. Yeah, he would. And the big thing is, Mac Jones does not have the biggest arm. Mac Jones is not the flashiest. Mac Jones is not the one. And I was listening to Skip and Shannon today, and they put it best. Bill Belichick is not going to go with that black athletic quarterback. He has before, and you saw Cam. Cam just fucked the shit up. Like, he just don't want to throw interceptions. You got to listen to Bill Belichick. You might hate the way it is, but he's going to guide you in the direction you need. And Mac Jones had Nick Saban back in college, so it was an easy transition to go here. But that's all I have to say there. Just pay attention to Mac Jones more and more, because that team is looking good. They play the Bills, which we'll bring up in that one. But the bye weeks for this
by the way, I'm changing my defensive player of the year, which I think I said TJ Watt. I'm changing it to Micah Parsons. He's gonna sweep everything. He's gonna win. He's gonna go Pro Bowl, All Pro, and he's gonna win Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
So he's been doing a lot. Only thing I'm curious as to how it's going to be when Gregory and Lawrence get back, how that'll impact like how much he has, because he's had to do so much right now. And I know it'll help him more focus on things he needs to focus on when they get the boys all back and back to work. And the buys for this week, and half these teams need it, the Browns, in my mom's words, broken COVID toe Packers, and then the Titans and the Panthers. All 4 teams need the buys. So that's what I want to say there. We'll just go into the NFL picks and sweep through those real quick. Dallas Saints, who you got?
Dallas.
So I have Dallas too. Bucks Falcons.
Bucks.
So I have the Bucks as well. Chargers Bengals.
Ooh, Chargers.
Okay.
Sleeper.
So I have So I have the Bengals in that one, but they always surprise me. Vikings Lions.
Vikings. Lions suck.
I think they might go defeated outside of their tie. So I have the Vikings. Adam Thielen, you need to do well. Giants Dolphins.
Giants.
So I have the Dolphins in that one, but they can always surprise me. Eagles Jets.
Jets.
So I have the Eagles, and it's probably not going to go that way. Colts Texans.
Colts. They need it.
Okay. They need it, and I need it. As long
Yeah.
as they keep them healthy, I'm straight. Colts, you can keep winning. Football team and Raiders.
Raiders.
So
That's tough.
I have the Raiders in this one because through adversity, they've been doing better. Then I just think that they might continue it. Jaguars, Rams.
Man, Rams need it, and the Jags suck. So I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Yeah. So something's got to give, and I don't know what, but I got the Rams. I don't know. The Jaguars just are there. They're not really a full team. They're just there. Ravens, Steelers.
You see what happens when I start picking the Steelers? They fucking lose. I'm going with the Ravens. Not doing it. I'm not falling for it again, dude.
So I don't really need to say this one because I got the Ravens. I'll keep on rooting for them. 49ers, Seahawks.
Niners. Seahawks are in a bad place right now.
So 2 quick things. One, Russell Wilson, I don't think he's going to be there too much longer at the rate that's going. Second thing is, one of the best running teams, hands down, are the 49ers. It doesn't matter who they put out there. They'll put wide receivers, anybody. But 49ers,
I bet you $10, 10 whole dollars that the Eagles trade one of their top 10 picks for Russell Wilson. and they get rid of Jalen Hurts, and they bring in Russell Wilson for the final 3-4 years of his career.
Hell no. If that happened, I would be almost at every single game. But hell no. Oh my God. That'd be a smart pick.
Yeah.
For them. Chiefs, Broncos.
Chiefs.
So Teddy Two Gloves doing stuff out there.
Teddy Two Gloves.
But I don't think they're gonna win this one. The game that I've been tossing up back and forth, Pats and Bills.
I'm going with the Pats, dude.
The
Bills are also in a weird spot. I still think they're one of the better teams in the AFC, but they just haven't they've been shaky. So I'm gonna go with the Pats.
So I had the Bills in that one. I guess it's just my bias because I always just root for Josh Allen, win or lose. But that's what we got over there. We always like to close it up the same way. So Steven, what you got for the people?
Yeah, shout out to my kids. This was the first holiday that are like my kids are of the age now where they can just entertain themselves. And, I still like to play with my kids, but like holidays, just like to chill with the fam, we sat on the couch, drank some beers, watch football,
Not the kids.
did all that. Yeah, no, maybe a couple of sips, but shout out to my kids. I see other people's kids and they're just going batshit crazy, but like my kids do that sometimes, but like way less than everybody else's kids, it seems like. So love my kids. Both my kids are in gymnastics right now and they're killing it. My daughter, she's been doing it for 2 years, killing it. Mason just started, killing it. So yeah, shout out to my kids always.
So one thing before I say mine, so Steven's kids, and I can say this because I deal with kids every single day. Steven's kids are very chill. Like if you've seen any pictures of Steven's son. My man is just chilling on the couch, almost like, why are you bothering me? Like, it's one of those
Facts.
things.
Facts. He did not like the paparazzi.
No, yeah. And then I remember just seeing Steven's daughter grow up, and like when they used to end up putting up like touchdown and stuff like that. Like, they're very chill. The shout out for me goes out to my old director. So he lives in Florida now. And he called me. I was like, who the heck? Why is he calling me? Just says, Christian, like, I was thinking about you. I was watching the Washington football team play because he graduated from ODU. So we talked about Taylor Heineke. And I was like, oh, like, what have you been doing recently? Oh, I'm just out here playing cricket. And I just thought about you for a second. And I'm just like the retired light when you just get to do whatever the hell you want to do.
Facts, bro. Facts.
So
I cannot wait for that.
Yeah. So that's my big thing that I wanted to end up saying. So shout out to that light. And also, shout out to everybody out there that continues to watch us. But with that, we'll be back next week. We got a lot of big things coming for December and for the new year. So with that, we out.
Peace.